Hello everybody, I hope your Wednesday is fabulous. So I'm back today with this week's Shimelle sketch. This is the sketch we have for this week. So my plan for this sketch is to turn it this way. Have the three photos, and then I have pulled out some white cardstock and a Cocoa Vanilla Studio Boys Rule collection and three photos. These are some of my son's senior pictures. He has now graduated and turned 20, but we won't talk about that. So yeah, let's get started. I am just going to turn the sketch this way, and I'm imagining like clusters of embellishments. I'm going to turn the title, obviously, journaling, that kind of stuff, but I thought this would be interesting to have it be flipped a little bit and use some vertical photos instead of horizontal. So we'll get started and we'll see where I go with this. Okay, let's get started on my layout. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and use a white sheet of pattern paper, or, well, no, wrong. Let's start over. I'm going to use a white sheet of cardstock. This is Basil Coconut Swirl cardstock. It is my most favorite cardstock of choice for both backgrounds and cut files, but not for mixed media. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to take the branding strip off, and I'm going to grab my photos, all three of them, and I want to mat them. So I'm going to have to trim them up just a little bit. I'm not going to trim them up a lot. I'm just going to trim them up just a little bit. So I'm sorry that this is a bit late this evening. I took my boys for a swim, and it's kind of put me behind for doing everything else I wanted to do today. But that's okay. It's still Wednesday. It's Wednesday for another couple hours. We're good. Still Wednesday. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to trim just a little bit off of all of these pictures, just enough that I can mat them with another color, with a colored paper from my collection. I went ahead through the 6x8 paper pad and chose these three patterns to back my photos with. Now, unfortunately, I would have really preferred to have used some scraps to back my photos with instead of full sheets of paper, but I didn't have any scraps in this collection to use. And of course, these scraps are going to be too small to mat another picture next time I want to mat a picture with this collection. Oh dear. Anyway, I need to do a page fairly soon where I just take these tiny little pieces and kind of collage them together. We're getting to that point with this particular collection where I have lots and lots of embellishments, but not a lot of paper. Also, speaking of which, be sure to head over to my channel on Friday. I am starting a brand new series with my lovely friend and fellow Cherry on Top design team member, Natalie. She and I are going to be starting a new scrapbooking series where we make layouts that are 20% paper and 80% embellishments. The idea being both of us end up with collections like this where we have just 1 or 2 sheets of 12x12 paper, some scraps, and maybe a 6x6 or 6x8 paper pad, and all the embellishments left. So that's going to be a fun series. I'm excited to get started on it. This layout actually would have been a good one to have done for a Friday, but it's Wednesday and it's Shimelle sketch, so it's gonna happen today. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I'm going to mat these three photos and kind of get them into a line. So I matted the two that are gonna be on the end with a darker paper and a smaller mat, and then the one that's in the middle, I made that mat just a little bit chunkier, just to give that photo just a little bit of zhuzh, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of line them up, and they fit really, really nice. I just took a 1/4 inch, so I left the pictures 6 inches tall, and then I took a 1/4 inch, so that made them, instead of 4 inches, they were 3 3/4 inches, and that gave me just enough room to nicely mat the photos and still have them span the whole length of the page. So next up, I want to add some black splatters. I want to add a little bit of splatters to the bottom of the page, but I didn't want to do it until I had the photos down, just so I would get my black splatter placement correct. I am just going to grab my Shimmers colorings in Night Moves, and I'm just going to splatter, splatter, splatter till I'm happy with the results. And that looks about good. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside. It takes like a hot minute to dry. Like, it really doesn't take long at all. And then I can start to go through all of the embellishments and pick the ones that I think are going to work for this layout. So this was a lot of just flicking through embellishments. I have so I have 2 sheets of 12 by 12 paper left in this collection. This is the Boys Rule collection from Cocoa Vanilla Studio. I have just about every die cut still there. I have about 90% of the wood veneers. The only thing I appear to have used a fairly decent amount of are clear stickers. The rest of this collection is virtually untouched. So I know I want to use a lot of die cuts. Remember, I'm just going to create these kind of cascading rows of embellishments down from my photo. That's how I'm going to interpret the sketch. And so I decided that, see, they still have, look, the die cuts still have the like extra pieces of die cut that you have to pop out. I'm so bad with embellishments. I love them, but I am a paper heavy scrapbooker. So I'm going to go ahead through all of the die cuts. I'm going to kind of like collage them together. I've done collage layouts before with you guys on my channel, so this definitely isn't anything new. It's almost like fitting together a puzzle, and just like I do with all of my clusters, I'm going to start with the big clusters or start with the large elements and then move on to the small elements. In this case, my largest embellishments are the die cuts, so that's where I'm going to get started. I decided I want to use lots of these little frames and overlap them and then fill them up. I'm going to use that Cool Kid as my title, mostly because it is the largest typographical element that I put on the page, so it acted very well as a title. But we're going to have lots of clear stickers and free stickers and different things on here. So I'm just going to keep going through here, kind of deciding where I want things to go, how I want things to look. I wanted to use as many of these die cuts as I could, especially when I opened up the packaging and realized that I don't think I've used hardly any of them. If I remember correctly, I've used a couple of the title words perhaps out of it, but very few. Definitely have lots and lots of die cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of flick through them, decide what I'm going to use, and then I can kind of start to put things together once I have the die cuts sorted out. So once I have the die cuts I want to use picked out, I'm going to go through the wood veneer. Again, oodles and oodles of wood veneer. I'm just going to use a couple. I end up picking, I think, 1 wood veneer for each cluster of embellishments. I thought that would bring the 3 together if I had some similar elements appear throughout each of the clusters. I'm really, really happy with this first set of clusters, so I'm going to go ahead and ink everything with my Hickory Smoke Distress ink and glue everything down before it gets knocked or moved or shuffled. I wanted to get it down as soon as possible. In each of these clusters, as I work through them, I'm also going to use a pop dot to pop up a couple of different elements. I don't want everything to be flat. The wood veneer helps with that. That little flare helps with that. And then I'm also going to use some dimensional adhesive on certain areas of the layout. For my next cluster of embellishments, I really want to pull in just a few of these clear stickers. I love clear stickers when I have the ability to place them directly onto white cardstock. And a collection like this, a cluster like this, is perfect to be able to get some of these clear stickers right there on white cardstock where it's not going to get lost with a pattern paper background. That label was the perfect size to add that little epic cut file or clear sticker, and now I'm going to use one of these little cut apart sheets. I kind of put this off to the side. There were a couple of cut apart pieces on this 6x8 paper that I thought would work really well. Another thing I'm being very, very careful not to do, and this could just be a pet peeve of mine, is I'm being careful not to repeat any of the sayings. So for example, I have epic on that label, and I was very, very careful not to put epic anywhere else in the layout. That's something that is just my personal preference. I'm sure there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. And sometimes I will repeat a phrase if I need to, or if I want to, or if I don't mind how it looks. But for this, I really thought there was enough variety in this collection, and I had enough phrase stickers that I could vary what they all said. So frames are an embellishment I have a hard time with. I've often thought that it was because I just didn't like the pre-made frames that came in embellishment kits, so I bought a frame punch board thinking that if I could make my own sized frames, I would then enjoy them. No. Frames are just not my friend. I like the look of them. I don't have anything against them. They just, I don't know, not my jam. I have a very hard time using them. So I was very happy that I was able to use, I think I used four. I used four on this layout. So that was really, really great. Okay, so this cluster is going to house my title. So I wanted the title to stand out and to kind of be very obvious in there. So I'm not going to add too much wording on this particular cluster. Instead, I'm going to go for some of these clear stickers that look like paint brushes. They were my favorite part. I only have 2 of these clear stickers left. I've used all the other ones because they were fabulous and I love them. I wish all collections came with clear stickers that look like paint splashes. Those are the best. And the only one I know that does them is Cocoa Vanilla. So I'm going to go ahead, see that phrase sticker that I'm holding said something about a cool kid. And I was like, wait, nope, can't do that. We already have a cool kid. Moving on to something else then. I decided I'm going to take some of these sticker labels and I'm going to cut apart some of the phrase stickers that were a little longer than I would have liked, and I'm going to ink them up and place them on top of these label stickers, and then I'm going to use them as the last little bit of embellishments for my page. And those are primarily going to end up at the top. So I did want to keep to the sketch since I was already turning it 90 degrees. I figured I could, the least I could do is kind of keep to the design of the sketch. So I wanted to put a little something up at the top of each of the photos and decided that that would be a really good place for these stickers that have the labels on them. A couple of them I went ahead and kind of layered with, I think I layered 2 of them with stars. Nothing too crazy. These photos, the photographer that did Morgan Senior portraits, she's a really good photographer, but the style that she took these pictures with, it gives them a lot of room above, so they're not super cropped in, which I love the look of them. They're beautiful, but it means that it gives me some definite embellishment room in parts of the photo, so I was happy to be able to go ahead and use those. And that's going to complete this layout. I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy this process, and please be sure to check out Shimelle's original blog post, which is always linked down below. I will see you guys all again very soon tomorrow. We only have one video tomorrow, so that's good, right? All right, see you all again soon. Bye.